which kind of gives us this advantage. You know, the most expensive part of shipping something to you is that last mile. It's the woman or the man in the truck, you know, getting it to your house. So we said, you know what? Let's just say, hypothetically, that costs us $10 for a box. How about if you stop by a store and just get it yourself? You become your own little FedEx person. We'll give you $8 back, right? And we've saved $2. So we started launching this, and you know, a lot more people started going into stores, which is kind of, you know, for a lot of millennials who don't, you know, think about going to a physical Walmart. This was cool. And then my favorite thing is, so, you know, I've got 3 teenagers, and we like to hack. Does anyone know what these things are, these little buttons?
Yeah.
This is Amazon Dash, right? So, you know, because I live in Silicon Valley, we've got 12 of these. And, you know, every single object that, you know, like Q-tips, I'm out, boom, hit the button. You know, paper towels, out, hit the button. We actually started dismantling these and hacking them so that every time you hit the button now, it launches on the nearest computer Walmart's easy reorder page. So this is actually a new design that we did, and it's an algorithm that predicts your shopping list, right? So it takes stuff you've bought before, it knows how often stuff gets used up. Like the day that I took this screenshot, it happened to be, you know, my sink was actually clogged. So I don't know if our AI was that amazing, but I actually needed Drano that day. And we're getting better and better at trying to create this experience where you don't have to go out throughout your house to hit buttons. You just go on an app, anywhere, anytime, to kind of have this reorder experience. Now, all of this stuff is really moving the business, and it's really gratifying to see what, in my mind, are pretty small things. These aren't like earth-shattering innovations. And actually, some of you know, I think it was about this time last year, Warren Buffett, you know, like sold all his Walmart stock. He's like, I don't know about this retail thing. You know, Kmart, you know, it's like it's kind of not working out. And actually, there's an article that was published. You know, did Warren Buffett make a mistake? Right? So it's an interesting, fascinating space. But what I want to talk about today is something a little bit more deep than just e-commerce. Our corporate mission is to help people save money so they can live better. And I'm kind of fascinated by the live better part of that equation. Most people know you can get to Walmart and get like cheap stuff. But I don't believe that a life better lived is just getting a lot of more affordable things. I think there's some really interesting human questions to the way that Tom and Kirk teed up the day around empathy and human connection. And so we actually created this website, designforlivingbetter.com, which is the manifesto of my design team, to actually attract a new generation of designers to come to Walmart to explore, what does this mean? Okay, so we're at the beginning of that journey, and that's going to tee up conversations after the conference or at dinner, because I'm actually interested in your thoughts on how to do that. One example is we do this every couple of months. We bring 30 households into our design studios who rely on Walmart. They bring in their favorite magazine, we have some stickers, and they as a family create a collage of what living better means to them. And then we have them highlight a place on this collage where it's broken. And then we together role play, what could an awesome future look like if that thing was no longer broken? We then take all of those collages, and that becomes the source of inspiration for, you know, days and weeks worth of design sprints and brainstorming about how can we create a more human version, a more empathetic version of Walmart, right? Not just, you know, it's interesting. There's a bunch of people that are joining Walmart right now because we want to kick Amazon's ass. You know, that competitive spirit. That's not why I'm at Walmart. I'm driven by compassion for the Johnsons and the Hendricks and the Martinez family that I just had pizza with. And they talked about how they want more connection in their lives. Like, where did family dinner go? You know, like, I have 4 family dinners. It's me when I get home, and then I take my kids out to soccer, and then Joey comes back and he grabs some leftovers, and then my husband's working late, and then he eats dinner. Like, can you just help me with family dinner? Like, that's a really awesome provocation for a design team. So, what I'm doing is, in year 2 for Walmart, I'm at the beginning of a journey of trying to think about more fundamentally, how do you design for living better? And I'm bringing into that 3 principles of what I call innovation by design. And so I'm going to share really quickly what I think are the 3 fundamental things that I'm thinking about, and I'm interested in your guys' feedback later on if you think there's other things that I should be thinking about. Okay, so these are the 3 things. Fearless, being human-fueled, and fast. Quite honestly, I'm not really happy with that second one. I was kind of forcing the alliteration of the F. So if you have ideas for that second one, let me know. But let's start with the fearless. And this is where you're going to take out something to draw with and a piece of paper. What I want you to do is look at the person next to you, either one. Give it a little fist bump to be hip. Okay, now, in 60 seconds, I want you to draw them. On your mark, get set, go. Okay, we're about halfway done. We've got about 35 seconds left.
I'm quite happy with these 4
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Put your pens down. Okay, now give your drawing to the person who it's of.
JC, I'm really sorry.
There you go. It's not bad.
You're a very distinctive, attractive target, right?
It's not bad, is it?
Well, mainly it's just hair, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, now hold these up for me. I want to see these. I'm going to take a 360-degree photo of all of these awesome drawings. Are you guys ready? You have to stay nice and still. Hold these up. These are amazing. You guys ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Got it. Okay, so now what you just did was actually a creativity experiment that was done by this guy on the left, Bob McKim. Bob McKim was an engineering professor at Stanford who, he's actually the mentor of the Kelly brothers and of Tim Brown, who wrote the book Change by Design, where design thinking was kind of proposed. And he noticed that, engineering is a very linear discipline, right? It's very kind of work, breakdown structure, left brain, solve problems, scientific kind of thing. And what he noticed was that these divergent thinkers would often have totally wacky, creative things that would sometimes break through and create unexpected results. And so he wanted to study this. And this is one of the things he used to study human creativity. So every time he did this activity with adults, this is exactly what would happen. Lots and lots of sorries. In fact, even before I started over here, there was like, I apologize in advance. I haven't even started sketching, but I'm already sorry. Right? Now, whenever Bob McKim did this activity with kids, particularly those that were like, before middle school, elementary kids, they have a very different reaction. Like, what do you think kids do when they're given the task of drawing their neighbor? They love it. They're proud. Yeah, actually, they're not freaked out. There's no sorries. They're not actually particularly happy either. It's just kind of like, okay, right? I mean, if you've ever had kids or played with kids, you put down paper and crayons, what do? They draw, right? They just make. It is innate. And it's human to just create. So Bob McKim used this activity to show that somehow as we grow older, we start to fear the judgment of our peers. And I think for all of you guys, how many of you guys are actually designers? A couple of you guys. Okay, so for some of you, this is really applicable in the way that you actually sketch and create and generate ideas. But for those of you that aren't designers, you have conversation, you have whiteboard sessions, you have strategy meetings, right? You do research, you're an architect. You think about all the times when that subconscious voice in your head sometimes tells you to just, maybe I won't say that crazy idea because I'll look like a fool. That's where the gold is. And so if you remember one thing from this little session, it's to kind of get back to that childlike ability to embrace your inner creativity. Now, if you're interested in this whole topic, there's a great book, Creative Confidence, written by the Kelly brothers about how to exercise that muscle. It's a really good kind of manual for anybody to get into that zone. Okay, so that's what I mean by fearless. I mean ridding ourselves of the fear of failure and the judgment of our peers. Okay, now the second one, to me this is actually the most important. I started my career in design when my dad gave me this book. This is called Information Architects. It was written by this guy, Richard Saul Wurman. Raise your hand if you know who that is. A couple of you guys? Yeah. So he actually founded the TED conferences, Technology, Entertainment, Design. He was an architect who started realizing that a new breed of designers was needed to take massive bodies of data and make the complex really clear. And I thought that was a really cool field. He said that one of the best information architects was this guy, Clement Mock, who was an ex-Apple creative director. I sent him a little care package, a handmade sketchbook with twine, and I think this is probably before Unabomber stuff, I don't know. But anyway, I sent him this package, he sent me a note back, I got an interview, and I ended up working for Clement in New York, starting my career in design. And he wrote this book where he said, the experience is the brand, which in the mid-90s was like a revelation for designers who were used to designing artifacts, like things, objects. Like maybe the experience around that object is something I could design. And I got a business card with Clement. It was like Dan Makoski, experienced designer, badass, right? Like I felt badass. I didn't actually put badass on my card. I should have though, because that's what I felt. And then I worked on this project for United Airlines with these really weird people called researchers who had backgrounds in sociology. And I was like, what are you doing here? And they started doing paper prototyping where travelers would come in and they would kind of design their own homepage for an ideal United.com experience. And I was kind of pissed at those people. I'm like, I get paid $3.50 an hour to figure that out for our clients. People don't know what they want. Why are you even asking them? But their insights had amazing breakthroughs in the process and solved some of the hairiest information architecture problems. So I took those guys out for lunch. I said, where does that come from? And they introduced me to Dr. Liz Sanders, who's on in the striped shirt. She has a website called maketools.com. And she is my hero. No one knows about her, but she is my hero, the way that she thinks about people and design and creativity. And when I was reading one of her papers, I read this. And it was like a week ago, I had just had these fresh business cards that were like, Dan Makoski, experienced designer. And so here's how she defines experience. Experience is a moment in time at the intersection of our memories from the past and our dreams for the future. UX, the X experience, it doesn't mean software, it doesn't mean technology, it doesn't mean digital, it doesn't mean an app. It actually means a moment that's at the intersection of our dreams and our memories. And I don't know about you guys, but Facebook has this cool feature where they'll show you 2 years ago, you had this thing with your family, and it's like you have a new perspective on that moment. And I've realized that if we can barely understand our own moments, how can we be so egotistical to presume that we can design other people's moments? Your moments are your moments. You can barely understand them, right? So what Liz said is you can't design experience, but you can design for experience. And that one small three-letter word, for, kind of changed my life. And hopefully it'll change yours too, and that's why you have Play-Doh. So get ready, Play-Doh is next. If you haven't already, some people are already getting in. Great, awesome. We're gonna do a little making together. Because Liz says there's only 3 ways to understand humans. Number 1 is what they say, number 2 is what they do, and number 3 is what they make. Traditional market research, that focus group we were talking about earlier, that's all what people say. Anybody who has teenagers knows that what people say is very often different than what they do, right? It's not the most reliable source of data. so there's been this rise of applied anthropology to innovation. Let's go study the tribes in their native habitat, and see what they actually do, right? So Liz was working with Microsoft on this toolkit to create a game controller with this father and the son in their native habitat. Let's observe the tribes. And most importantly, giving them this toolkit, what she would call ambiguous stimuli. Basically, they're props, where this father and this son can role play what is an awesome gaming experience and kind of share that with the world. And that's where Make comes in. When people unleash that innate creativity, you see totally new things. I just thought I'd throw this slide up here because you might think I'm awesome because there's cool words up here like latent knowledge and tacit knowledge. But basically, the idea here is you want to get to deep knowledge that people have, right? And to get to deep knowledge, the latent knowledge, you have to engage people in generative sessions to share their dreams. And I'm going to show you how you can do that with something as simple as Play-Doh. Okay, so this is what I mean by being human-fueled. It's not human-centered design. It's not just, creating a persona or a scenario. It's actually breaking down the wall between you and your design or engineering team and these other people that we call users. I hate that fucking term, users. Like, there's only two industries that use that term, illicit drugs and software. Like, thanks, software. Like, I don't just care about you when you're using my product. Like, you're a human with hopes and dreams. Like, let's call people people. Let's call, and even consumers, right? We use the word consumer, 25 times today? Like, that assumes that the role of humans is to acquire objects, right? Which is kind of weird, too. So anyway, so that's what I mean by human-fueled, really deeply participatory. So here's one example of what happens when you apply these methods. So anyone know what this phone is? Anyone own the Moto X 4 years ago when it came out? This was Motorola's first pure Android phone after Google bought them. It's a beautiful phone. It was a phone that you were able to design yourself. We had natural materials like bamboo and ebony, and you could choose all your own little accent colors. But the most loved feature of the Moto X came from this co-creation activity that we did, where what's cool about this is you can see the stack of blocks. These are actually bits of foam core covered in whiteboard material. And you could do anything as small as a little wearable watch, to a screen, to a tablet, to like a 72-inch television. And we had people in their homes role play the future. We would leave, the kids and the parents, they would act out, or prepare to act out a day in the future. We would come in like a film crew and say action, and just kind of see what a day in the life was like. And this is Jenny in San Francisco, who would get home an hour before her boyfriend every day. The first thing she would do is where's the remote? Okay, turn on the TV. She just liked the sound of, having something warm and social behind her. And just turn on the news. And she said, you know what, the future, I shouldn't have to find my remote. I should walk in, and my television should say, hello, Jenny. And then she would say, hey, TV. It's good to see you. The TV would say, would you like to turn on the news channel? She didn't actually speak in a British accent. I don't even know if that's Scottish or Irish, but I'm here with you guys. So, and she's like, yes, please turn on the news. And we saw this pattern again and again, where people, long before Siri or Alexa or any of this is 5 years ago, were using this kind of human way of connecting with technology. So we actually, on the Moto X, designed the very first implementation of an active listening speaker, where anybody could just talk to their phone and say, okay, Google, navigate home. And this was one of the most loved features of this device that came from this participation with ordinary people. And then the last thing, which I'll share in just 1 minute here, is actually, here's an example of how you can use these tools in your own work. Okay, so get out your Play-Doh. And here's your last challenge. In 60 seconds, I want you to design a toothbrush from the future. On your mark, get set, go.
There is a danger this looks like a sex toy, you realise? There's a danger it looks like a sex toy pretty quickly.
That's true.
Ah, we're close.
And then
It's working with navigation. You put your
I used to eat this stuff as a kid, right? Not all of it, not like for lunch, but you know.
Okay, we're about halfway done. 25 seconds left. It's a little harder to sculpt in a minute than it is to draw, but that's fine. Just do what you can. Five, four, three, two, one. Okay, who wants to share their toothbrush from the future? All right, what do we got?
So this is basically the shape of your, yeah. So basically you just put it like this and it does the job. So it's
Amazing. So, okay, be honest. Did anybody bite into their Play-Doh? Yeah? Amazing. Awesome. Yeah, like, and how many of you did some mouth guard, like, curved kind of thing? Yeah. You know, why do we take a toothbrush like this one planar surface and then bring it to 4 planar surfaces over 2 minutes? Like, why not just have a 3D printed or molded thing where you bite twice and you're done? Amazing. Cool. Okay, who has some other toothbrush from the future that's interesting?
So this is a toothbrush that is continuously brushing in your mouth. You leave it in your mouth. And when your mouth isn't busy, it's brushing all your teeth.
It's like a Roomba in your mouth. It's like just going around. Very cool. Who else had like some kind of Roomba robot AI thing going around? Yeah. Okay, some other ideas. Yeah, what do you got over here?
I've got an octopus toothbrush that you just hold there, and it's got lots of tentacles, and then it just whip it around your mouth, and you're done.
Amazing. Amazing. It's like, you know, and if you get hungry, there's some like sushi right there, like ready to go. No, that's awesome. That's super cool. Okay, what else do we got? Maybe 1 or 2 more. Yeah.
This one here is connected with your iPhone. It has a micro camera. You put in your mouth. You just use it with your mobile phone, up, down, up, right, and you see where the food has left. And has also a floss inside that when you see the detail, you just put it in.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's like, you know, multi-function. You know, for those with OCD, they have to like, you know, see what's going on. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, awesome. Cool. So listen, this was an actual design challenge that was given to IDEO back in the day. They were asked by Oral-B to create a toothbrush for kids. And so IDEO, being a really innovative firm, saying we have to observe how kids brush their teeth, which freaked out the client. They're like, wait, you go into people's homes at night watching their kids in the bathroom brush their teeth? And they're like, yes, that's how we work. So they went in. This was just a, you know, this wasn't an image they saw, but this is an image that's representative. What do you think their sociologists saw when they looked at this brushing teeth experience that would have been interesting from a design perspective? Giant adult toothbrush that's not created for kids. Yeah, a little weird, happy, narcissistic thing happening. What else? Dexterity, yeah, exactly. Right, like when we brush our teeth, we have this really cool thing, may I, called manual dexterity, where we use the like tips of our fingers to get a ninja grip to like get in every single crevice, right? When kids brush their teeth, they do the fat fist. And they don't have that ninja skill, so they're, you know, there's elbow and shoulder issues going on, right? And so what the IDEO team did was basically created the world's first ergonomically designed toothbrush for kids called the Squish Grip. And now every single toothbrush for kids has that insight. So basically, I'm going to wrap up here, but I gave this talk at IDEO about say, do, make, and what are the new tools for designers to involve ordinary people in the design process. And I asked the team that did this project, what if you had given kids Play-Doh? And they said, well, you know what? It would have been awesome because we would have seen, if I can see your Play-Doh for a second, you know, when kids would have made stuff, they wouldn't have said, I need an ergonomically design handle to make brushing a little more easy, right? Like they wouldn't have, that's like latent knowledge. But you would have seen right in front of you ergonomically designed handles because that's what's easy to create. And you would have seen Roombas and gum and mouth guards and all this other crazy stuff that was even more than what you see. Because when you get people making, amazing things come out. All right, thanks guys. That's what I have. I think we're out of time.